What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here for Osmo.com, taking you through a new video series we're calling the Four Corners. Basically, I'm going to take you through the four main items I'm seeing on a slate right now based upon our ownership projections at Osmo.com, some breaking news, some of my projections, basically pulling it all together to give you the four items that I'm seeing as the most important here for you guys on tonight's NBA slate. So right now, make sure to hit that like button down below. Give us a little support on this first video because it does help us out quite a bit. And I'm going to take you through the main items I'm looking at as of about midday Pacific time. Number one on our ownership projections right now is Sacramento Kings Bogdan Bogdanovic. He's in a great spot here versus the Atlanta Hawks, one in which he's going to look pretty appealing with a nice mid-range price on both DraftKings and FanDuel. Bogdanovic in a pace-up spot versus Atlanta is pretty appealing here. He's pretty good at grabbing rebounds, good at getting assists, and he's also a very good scorer in open space, all things that the Atlanta Hawks are going to offer him up in this matchup tonight. The minutes are a little bit of a risk with Bogdan. He does come off the bench, and Coach Dave Yeager can mess with his rotations a little bit sometimes. Maybe he wants a big in there. Maybe Nemanja Bjelica is getting hot. Maybe Buddy Hield's getting hot. There are some ways that it can go south for Bogdan, but he does seem like a fairly secure play whose minutes are more safe more often than not. And versus a defensively weak Hawks team, Bogdan could easily beat up on the second unit and pick up some big stats. Overall, the game with the Hawks and the Kings looks like one that could be stacked in a variety of ways. De'Aaron Fox put up 72 fantasy points versus this Hawks team earlier this year. He hasn't been there recently. Has actually only topped 40 fantasy points in one of his last 5 games. But overall, he could have a nice day here. On the other side, Trae Young interests me quite a bit here. He's picking up more playmaking ability and he's shooting more. So his floor is getting a little bit higher, as is his ceiling. But from a value perspective and from an opportunity perspective, Bogdan Bogdanovic looks like one of the stronger plays and probably one worth matching the field on with a pretty high projected ownership. Another guy I'm interested in, and I promise it won't always be Eastern European guys here leading off the four corners, but Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks heading into a game at Madison Square Garden looks particularly appealing to me. Doncic has a usage rate over 30% in 9 out of his last 10 games, so he's on the upswing there. He hasn't been affected too much by Dennis Smith's return, which has been a big concern for me. Overall, Doncic is looking like a fantastic play, especially after coming off a triple-double versus a Raptors team who's very competent. This Knicks team, far less competent, may surprise you to learn, so Doncic really could roll here in a variety of ways. Some other Mavericks also look pretty appealing here if you were trying to pivot away from Doncic. Harrison Barnes and Dennis Smith Jr. look particularly interesting here. Barnes, his shot volume is there. They just haven't been falling for him quite as much. Dennis Smith has been a little bit better since coming back to the lineup, playing a little more assertively, but not taking things away from Luka. Both those guys look strong here. Wesley Matthews can heat up, and DeAndre Jordan as well could have a nice rebounding day, especially defensively, given how badly the Knicks shoot from the floor. Overall, Doncic looks like a guy worth paying for today. Running it back with a probably highly owned Trey Burke coming off of a disappointing day, but he seems like a guy who's going to be able to get going today. Or with Tim Hardaway, who also saw some usage, but I think could regress a little bit here with less rebounding upside with DeAndre Jordan in the middle. I think those guys would be the ones to run it back with, but really Doncic is a guy who I want to have in my lineup. Jahlil Okafor and Jrue Holiday are 2 more guys I'm looking at today who I really want to target, especially if their ownership stays as low as the under 20% we're currently projecting for them at Osmo.com. I've looked for reasons to nitpick Okafor and not play him, but with a game like yesterday versus Houston where he really should have been played off the floor defensively, there was no real business of him being out there versus James Harden and how that Houston offense runs with switching. He did stay out there, still had a great game. I'm not going to question him, especially while Julius Randle continues to be out for the Pelicans. Based on how he's been playing, his effective rebounding, his high quality shot selection, Okafor's price should be up on the way soon, especially if some of these Pelicans get moved, as is currently being rumored by the various trade machinations out there. Jrue Holiday is likely to shoot between 18 and 24 times, and really he is a guy who's going to have to play well to keep this one close, even more than Okafor is. I mean, if you think about the guys who are out for the Pelicans right now, you have Anthony Davis out, Julius Randle out, Elfrid Payton out, Nikola Mirotic out, Etuan Moore out. That's literally almost half the roster. Jrue Holiday is going to have to do everything here. They did come out firing yesterday versus Houston in that first game since all this storm started swirling around New Orleans with the trade rumors. I like what Jrue brought to the table. I like him again today, even though the back-to-back obviously comes with a bit of risk versus a team like Denver, who is legitimately good. Other Pelicans to look at, Darius Miller has been doing well since Julius Randle went out as well. He's in a decent spot here, and his scoring will probably be necessary. And Kenrich Williams also picked up 30 minutes yesterday and acquitted himself pretty well as a rebounding power forward. I'm a little bit less likely to bank on that one, but it is a play worth noting there with Kenrich doing his thing. Running it back with Nikola Jokic, given that Jamal Murray's out, and that results in about 20 shots a game for Jokic, seems like a smart play there. There's also no true big, obviously, on New Orleans defensively who's going to limit Jokic. He could really have a big day today. But overall, you really need New Orleans to keep it close. So if you're playing any Nuggets, run it back with at least a few Pelicans. And of course, beware of the letdown spot. It is a back-to-back after they beat James Harden. that is a tough emotional one to come down from in a game where they're really going to need to be ready to compete with the Nuggets tonight. Last but not least, our fourth corner of the day, the Boston Celtics with Kyrie Irving sidelined looked like a strong play. Terry Rozier and Jaylen Brown have been the biggest beneficiaries of Kyrie's absence from a usage and a minute standpoint. Brown is projected for 27% ownership by us at Osmo.com right now, but people seem less inclined to trust Terry Rozier, even though he picked up 35 minutes and 15 shots last time without Kyrie versus Brooklyn. I like both those guys, but people being unwilling to trust Terry Rozier does seem like an interesting spot given how he has played better with Kyrie more often than not. Marcus Morris has also seen additional shot attempts without Kyrie, and he goes from 0.98 fantasy points per minute to about 1.1 fantasy points per minute. So there is a bit of a boost there, though again, he is a guy who you'd want the game to stay close for to make sure he gets his full run. And Al Horford's really been rebounding quite effectively recently, over 10 rebounds in his last 3 games. That can easily continue here versus a Charlotte team whose bigs really leave something to be desired. I'm less into Jason Tatum on the side, though I do think that he could get some usage back from Marcus Smart after Smart just bombed from 3 last game. I don't see Smart recreating that performance, and I do think Tatum gets a little bit closer to his mean, even though some of the values on the other guys make them a little bit more appealing to me. Overall, loading up on the Celtics can be a viable approach today. The usage vacuum that Kyrie leaves behind is pretty substantial. There is some risk, though, because the Hornets are frankly not a good team. They're on the road in Boston. Kemba Walker has been banged up with a neck injury, though he is not on the injury report today, so maybe he's closer to form. I would want to run it back with Kemba Walker or Jeremy Lamb, but honestly, given how bad the Hornets look, I think you can just play Celtics and not worry too much about stacking the other side of the equation. There we go. Those are my thoughts on today's NBA slate. 4 corners. Woof, what an offense to run. Make sure to click the like button down below. Leave me a comment. Tell me your favorite pick for the slate or just some angle you disagree with. Hey, let's just talk about it. Let's hash it out in the comments down below. And also, make sure to use the promo code SWITCHANDHEDGE. I'm going to put the link in down here. I'm still pointing at 100% hit rate after the showdown videos for the NFL. But click that, not click it. Input that promo code at Osmo.com. You'll get 50% off of your first month, any monthly membership at Osmo.com for half off. It's as good of a deal as you're going to get from any DFS site out there. So go check it out now. Check the promo code Switch and Hedge. And I'll be back again soon, probably next week, but we'll see how this goes with another 4 corners video. So good luck.